Hello and welcome to Storytime with Alexandria. My name is Alexandria. I'm an American born and raised, and I moved to France when I was 20 years old because I fell in love with a guy. I am since married to this guy, so it's not like a bad thing or anything. Allow me to tell you a short story about a stupid thing I did one time. So when I was 21, I was already married, and so that was when I had health insurance from my husband because we were married, and he was trying to tell me to go to the doctor because we went to an amusement park, and at the end of the day I kept telling him that there was a part of my body that was hurting, and it was since we went on that one ride that was pretty rough. And he was like, well, go to the doctor. And I'm an American who grew up in a relatively, I wouldn't say poor household, but we weren't rich either. So going to the doctor was like, no, you don't go to the doctor until you are very sick. And I was not very sick. And so in my head, my stupid little head, I was thinking, no, I can't go to the doctor because I'm not hurting a lot. I have to wait until it gets really bad to go to the doctor, which my husband was completely against, but it's not like he could force me to go. We went about our day, and then I started feeling worse. I got an appointment. Everything was fine. She was like, no, it's just bruised, no problems whatsoever. Go home. And I was like, okay. I go home, and it just feels worse. About 5 or 6 days later, I'm way worse. And I'm like, no, this is really bad. And so my husband was, again, he was like, go to the doctor. And I was like, my doctor is on vacation. And he was like, well, go to a different doctor. And I was like, okay. And so I got an appointment for the next day. That's not a bruise. And so he tried to help me out, but he was like, I don't think I can help you, actually. I'm going to try, but I think you need to go to the hospital. And I was like, okay, well, just give me the try for now, and then I can see about going to the hospital at a later time. And he was like, okay, but I really think you should go to the hospital. I was like, no, I don't want to go to the hospital. Because again, in my head, going to the hospital is so expensive. You can't just go to the hospital. You have to have a good reason to go to the hospital because you are going to be spending a lot of money at the hospital. And so I was like, no, I don't want to go. So he sent me home again with more medication, and I did not get better. I was not better. I waited 5 more days, and my husband was like, go to the doctor. I was like, I've already gone to 2 different doctors. And he was like, okay, we're going to go to another doctor. I'm taking you. Get in the car. And I was like, I can't even get in the car. It was so bad. But I got in the car. He took me to the doctor. The doctor took one look at me and he goes, go to the emergency room. And I was like, no, I don't want to go to the emergency room because it costs so much money. And my husband took me anyway. And so we get to the emergency room, and I am just in pain, and I can't, oh my God, it was so bad. And this guy walks past me. I could see him out of my peripheral vision. He walks past me. He comes back and he looks at me and he asks me, what's the matter? Except at this point, I hadn't been in France for very long. So I mean, I had been in France for very long. I just hadn't learned French very much at this point. And so my husband answered and he was like, blah, blah, blah. She's hurting here, blah, blah, blah. And the guy was like, okay, look, I was about to get off work, but I can see that she's in a lot of pain and I can treat that. So let's go give her like a mini surgery. And then you're going to have to come back and get the full surgery. But like after you've seen like the anesthesiologist and everything. And we can't do that today. So let's relieve the pain and then you can come back for the full thing. And so we do that. And then I go home. They send me home like the same day because it wasn't that big of a deal. And I feel like he saved my life. I didn't really pay attention to what was going on at this point because I was still in a lot of pain. But then after I went back, I got surgery again, and it was the full surgery this time. We went down to the place to say like, okay, we're leaving the hospital. And we started signing some papers and everything was going well. And I was kind of looking for where they took my card. Like, I was thinking, okay, so do I need to pay by check since there's no like payment other than check, I guess. So I started kind of searching the lady's desk with my eyes. And my husband, he kind of did the same thing because in his adult life, I don't think he's ever really gone to the hospital. I kind of like poked him while the lady was getting us to sign all these papers and swiping our insurance card. And then she kind of looks at us and was like, okay, goodbye. And I was like, wait, what? And so my husband, he's like, oh, so where do I pay? Or are you going to send like us the bill later? And the lady looks at us and she says, sir, you are in a hospital here. We don't handle money. And I kind of looked at my husband like, okay, wait, I think I could understand what she had just said because I knew all those words, but I couldn't believe what she just said. Like, there was no possible way that a hospital was telling us to leave without paying for anything. And my husband and I kind of like looked at each other real fast. I mean, my husband is French. He should know, but he didn't know. He later told me he was actually expecting to pay like a small fee, maybe like €5 or something. And the fact that it was absolutely zero was the shocking part for him. So then we went to the pharmacy and they gave us this huge box of material. And they were like, yep, all of this is covered by your insurance and Social Security. So have a nice day. And we're just like, I'm sorry, what now? This huge box of medical supplies is free? I mean, not technically free because we still pay taxes and we have insurance and whatnot. We still pay for all of this stuff, but it's free at the moment. Like, I don't have any extra charges to me. The next day, the nurse comes to use all of said supplies on me because I had to have a treatment for 3 months. And out of those 3 months, I did not pay a single time. I had a lady come to my house every single morning. And at the end, all we did was say, okay, well, goodbye. It was nice seeing you for 3 months. And then I never saw that person again. And we never had to pay anything at all, not for the multiple boxes at the pharmacy. I had to get a new box like every month of medical supplies. And the nurse coming to my door every single morning, even outside of my house, I could still get a nurse to do it for me. All of this with no money being spent at that moment. Like, obviously we still pay our taxes and everything else, but none was coming out of my pocket directly into these persons' hands. And it was so stupid of me, so stupid to wait so long to get help because I was still stuck in my mindset of being in USA. And in USA, you don't go seek help from a doctor or the hospital, especially not the hospital, unless you are very ill. And in the hospital, you better be dying to go to the hospital. And it was absolutely incredible. Another time I actually took an ambulance. Yeah, we didn't pay for anything of that either. I had an issue going on when I was not even close to my house. They kept me. So 1, they took me in an ambulance. 2, they kept me at the hospital for 5 days. For none of that cost me anything at all. And the lady was just like, sir, we are a hospital. We do not handle money. I could not believe her. I was, no. That is a phrase you will never hear in USA. We do not handle money. Kicking myself. I am kicking myself over my stupidity of being stuck in the ways of USA. while not in USA. Anyways, that was my embarrassing moment. That caused me a lot of pain, actually, and it was for nothing. That was my story time with Alexandria. And if you are interested in finding out a little bit more about my stupid moments in my life, I have a book, Croissants Every Morning. And if you want to hear a little bit more, then you can subscribe to my channel. That would be really helpful. And I hope you have a nice day. Bye.